you know, when you like would hear on the radio, like, does your kid want to be on Disney? Like that kind of shit. I ended up getting accepted, but it was definitely going to be a scam. So my parents definitely knew that.
What is Natalie's biggest fear?
It's snakes and clowns.
But it's not snakes and clowns because you wrote snakes.
She won't
You want me to sit here and tell me that I love you? It's fucking weird. I'm not going to do it.
No, I didn't ask you to sit here and tell me you love me. I wouldn't make fun of your appearance saying, I wouldn't say your ears are too big.
All right.
I wouldn't say that to you out loud. That's not true.
Ladies
I
and
never said that.
gentlemen, don't laugh at me.
Be quiet.
Howdy ho, everyone. Welcome back to the show. My name is Chris, and this is Until You Make It. Here today with me, as usual, Mr. Michael. And Mike, who do we have as our special guest today?
Where? Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry.
She's spooky.
I'm sorry.
She'll
I
get
didn't know.
you.
I thought I was sitting
It's
here
because she
alone.
wears all black.
Well, wow. That's so funny. You're here. Our guest today is a former cat from the 1500s. After being entangled in a love triangle between a wizard and a prince, she was granted her freedom. However, due to a horrible disfigurement, she has since worked behind the scenes with us at Helium Turtle Studios as a writer, producer, director, and actor. And today we have taken off her paper bag, and for the first time ever, folks, we welcome her as a guest on our show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to let the cat out of the bag, give a warm welcome to Miss Natalie Spisa.
I got you.
Very creative introduction.
Took me 2 weeks to write that.
2 whole weeks. Wow. Amazing, Chris. Thank you for letting me be here today. I'm very excited to join the podcast.
My pleasure, dude. Natalie's been our good friend for going on 7, 8 years, something like that. Mike, you've known Natalie a little bit longer than I have. You guys met in college, yeah?
Yeah, we did actually on the set of a student film.
Our lips locked, and then the rest is history.
Oh, that's right. I forgot the very first film you guys did. You were both acting.
The first time we ever met each other, yeah.
Yeah.
And the very first time you met each other had a kissing scene?
Yeah.
Or
For a student film for like a class. Wasn't even like going anywhere.
how long of a kiss?
It was pretty long.
Two to three
long?
takes of a
Oh, I
make.
thought you said too long.
No, 2 to 3 takes of a makeout.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Very exciting. So you'd say that's like a fiery start to your friendship.
I would say it's a
technically.
unique start to our
Definitely.
friendship, that's for sure.
Well, anyway, Natalie, you dabble in all kinds of things, mostly related to the arts, design, photography, drawing. You were telling me about. What's your main passion? Would you say, or do you just kind of do it all?
I will say I am afflicted by having too many hobbies and interests, all revolving around creative things. But I would say of all of them, photography is my biggest passion. It's something I constantly turn to. I've been doing it for a very long time, and it brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah, I mean, we were just saying before how much of an eye you have. You know, I feel like, you know, Mike, you know, when we meet people, you can tell when they have like a really good eye for lighting, for angles, for just having a clear vision of like what you want to accomplish.
Yeah, having a clear eye, but that also Natalie has a clear vision on other stuff as well. When it comes to co-directing or co-writing on something, it's really nice to have a partner who could I guess be decisive or also know exactly what she's looking for out of something, and then that helps us arrive together at whatever the issue is that we're facing when it's a writing thing and we're struggling to figure out story or meaning or purpose or character or whatever it is.
Yeah, I would say that's why I think all of us work really well together, because we all have an eye for these things and vision. And I mean, I love working with you guys because you're so talented and I learn a lot from you, but it feels very much like a team effort whenever we're working on stuff.
That's where we're going to end today's show.
Thanks so much for coming, Natalie. That's actually it. I mean, it's pretty quick. I'll go back to that question I was trying to form. Natalie, I introduced you before as producer, writer, director, actor, working with us. But that's not all you do. Unlike us, you technically don't do that stuff full time. And I think it's important for people to understand and know, not just like what it is you do, but understand your work life, hobby, passion, balance, because you basically do this stuff full time. We've co-directed something together. We co-writ multiple things together. You act it and have starred in things that we have done. So how do you balance your corporate 9-to-5 job with doing this at the same time?
That is a great question. And I will say that I often struggle with it. And I think it's more of like a energy thing, because I love doing all of this stuff with Helium Turtles and other projects that we work on. So I basically just have to make the time for it. But when you're working a job during the day full time, that's also creative, even though it isn't a corporate setting, it is creative. I'm a user experience designer. It's pretty draining to then come home and do more creative things. So I do struggle sometimes. Like, you'll ask me like day of like, hey, do you want to write later? And I'm like, no, I don't, because I'm just so drained by the end of the day.
Spontaneous.
He is very spontaneous, and I do appreciate that about you. It just sometimes it doesn't mesh well with already having worked like a full day trying to be creative and using my brain to solve really annoying, complex problems. Like, it's just can be too much sometimes. But
That's interesting. I wonder, do you think say you didn't have a creative 9-to-5 job, do you think, is it really just that creative brain, creative part of you that just feels drained at the end of the day? Because obviously you don't have like a physical labor kind of job, or
I think it's I would be a different kind of drained, I think, if I was doing a different thing 9 to 5. I think anytime you have a full-time job that you're also trying to pursue passions and hobbies outside of that, you're going to be tired, because if it's a physical job, then you're gonna be physically tired and you're not gonna be up to doing stuff. If it's a creative job, then you're using those creative muscles all day, and then you're tired, and doing that after work is a lot. If you're doing a mindless kind of job during the day, it still requires thought and energy. So I think either way you slice it, it's just not ideal to be doing a 9 to 5 job and then also doing this stuff outside of work.
Yeah, whenever we talk about you, we just talk about how hard you work, man.
Oh,
Seriously, like,
that's so nice.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you have the energy for stuff outside of work, because when I was working full time, I tell people all the time, you guys know I write music and I play guitar and stuff like that. I started writing songs in college, and then I started working full time, and there's no time for that stuff anymore. I would get home, I was just too tired. So for those 3 years I worked full time, I wasn't writing music, and it made me sad, Yeah. And like, I wasn't getting creatively fulfilled from my job toward the end. And now that I'm freelance full time, all that stuff came back, and it's like everyone balances their life differently, I
think that's interesting that you say that, though, because you and I were talking about this the other day, actually, that I don't feel like I do enough. Like, I feel like, and I don't know if it's just because I have so many ideas and so many things that I want to do, and by comparison, what I'm actually accomplishing of those things is not much. I feel like I'm never doing enough, and I struggle with that a lot.
Yeah,
you're preaching to the choir. I think we all feel
the same way.
That's most creative people feel. I was just talking to Ryan about like imposter syndrome too, and how big of a thing that is.
No, what we were talking about in the car was just that, how there's a laundry list of things that I want to do, even when it comes down to like, I need to redo my website, I need to make a reel for this, I need to do this, I need to get the t-shirt and stuff going for Exodus. I need to work on Exodus. But I want to do I need to do this. And I need to, like, there's so many things I need to do and feel like there's just never enough. I'm never doing enough. And it's like this feeling in the back of my mind or whatever that like, that I'm just not doing enough. It just keeps telling me you gotta do more.
Do you think that that's just the nature of creatives in general? That's just how we operate,
or like humanness too.
I'm already on to the next. We're not even done with Exodus, and I've been on to the next movie.
Well, that's a very typical thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's tough because we didn't even get done what we wanted to do today on Exodus because we got fucking sidetracked, because there's always this nagging feeling with the movie that we're currently working on that something still isn't right. And you're kind of locked in this thing in your head of like, do you leave it wrong and move on to the next thing and learn from that? Or can you come up with some magical solution that's going to make everything work? That's obviously a fantasy. I don't think nothing's ever going to be perfect. So that's kind of where we left today, right? We were just talking about fixing this little narrative problem, jumping through hoops, and we said, maybe it's just better to do what we can and not go crazy.
I think sometimes that's all you can
Yeah,
kind of get to.
that's all you can do. I mean, we're just looking at the fight choreography stuff again today. It's like, that's what people are going to see the movie for. So it's like, we're kind of just like, however quickly we can get to that. And like, that's what people want to fucking see. And it's awesome. Like, it's so good. You just made it even better with some of the editing tweaks you were doing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see
time
the
remapping.
newest cut.
Oh my God. It's so fucking smooth.
We love smooth.
Yeah.
It's so smooth. So anyway, we're really excited about that. But it's just, the process is like, when you're in uncharted territory like that, you're like, what do you do? What do you do? You know?
Well, I don't think we've actually provided context on the podcast for Exodus.
I did when you weren't here.
Where's my camera?
Right.
This one?
I don't know if you well, you obviously didn't watch that episode.
No, I guess
Called
I didn't. Which episode?
With Ryan when he was on the.
Ryan. Did you catch that?
Well, I wouldn't think that you would talk about the movie.
Well, because he had no idea what was going on, so I told him back in August, I think, something like that.
Oh, last August or this past August?
This past August.
Oh, so we were done filming.
Maybe July or something like that. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
We were done filming.
Okay. Do you remember
I
what
told him the breadth of.
what the movie's about? Or just like...
No, just like how many days it
many
took.
days?
46.
46 days. Okay. Well, because Natalie was a part of that too.
A
was-
big part.
She was there.
She
I
watched
was
us.
present, not for all 46
a little bit
days.
more
She
than
watched us
just
succeed,
there, but
and she watched us fail.
actually, technically, well,
She watched us fail a lot.
you weren't there for the 46 shoot days,
No.
but if you count the writing days, it definitely supersedes 46 probably.
Damn, do you think? Never really thought about
because
it.
we would write maybe once, sometimes twice
A week.
a
Yeah,
week
that's true. That's true.
for a while.
Evidently, I've blocked it out of my memory. So
A lot of us have, yeah. How did you pick your major in college?
okay, so that's interesting. I didn't know what school I wanted to go to. I had a really tough time trying to figure that out, but ended up at TCNJ. So I majored in graphic design and then I minored in interactive multimedia, which is what Chris studied in school.
And me.
Oh,
Little known fact,
forget
Mike
about-
also did.
I also went to TCNJ.
Yeah.
You know?
also went to TCNJ, but sometimes I forget that you were actually a student. Yeah,
What do you think
or
I
what
did
you
there?
actually did
I think I lived there.
academically.
I was what do you think I would?
I don't know. You were just
I
like
mean, I
there
didn't see
working
you
on
until
film.
like the last week.
Okay, all right. Well, I went.
I never saw you.
Okay, that makes we didn't have a single class together.
You and Ryan did though.
Me and Ryan had one class
Oh,
together.
you did? I didn't know that.
Yeah, before we knew each other.
That's fun. Yeah, so that's
Anyway.
what my major was. So we didn't have anything related to user experience design. That was not something that was like a major back then. I didn't even know what it was really. And one of my professors, because I went down like the digital track, you could have done graphic design, digital, or graphic design, print. And print, that's a bit of a
Print
rough thing
sucks.
to do. Yeah, these days.
Ooh.
So I went digital, and one of my professors was like, hey, you guys should learn about user experience design. And we were like, what is that? And then she was like, if you use apps and websites, a user experience designer most likely designed those if they're any good. So was my first experience with it. And then
Oh, then the iPhone just came out.
it's not
Right.
that long ago. Jeez.
How old are you?
I'm 27. You're the one who's old here.
Crazy.
Yeah, wow.
Let's not forget that.
That's
We have a
what-
good spread between us right
wild.
now.
We do.
wild. How many presidents have you voted
Do you
for?
remember 9/11? Yeah.
Actually, I don't remember 9/11.
I barely do. So that makes sense. So Mike, you remember it well.
Oh, I remember
bet.
it like it was yesterday.
See, like I said, we have the full spread.
I walked,
do.
I
We
walked
know
through
everything
the
between us.
streets of Manhattan.
Blood
through
and
the blood and
bones.
bone.
I think we
looking
need
for
to
my
stop
brother.
on this
Looking for my brother. He was in Hamburg. He was at home.
Great.
Rip Norm.
Yeah, R.I.P. The goat. Norm Macdonald. You don't even know who that is.
No, I don't.
Oh my god, you know
Different-
if
see,
you
that's
saw
the
him.
that's the
That's the spread.
That's the spread.
Age gap.
yeah.
I also just live under a rock, so any sort of irrelevant pop culture kind of reference, I probably will not understand.
Yeah, she doesn't even know who Britney Spears is.
Okay, let's not exaggerate.
Yeah.
Okay, then sing one song.
I'm not gonna sing.
Got her.
Do you do karaoke?
I love I love singing. I'm just not good at it.
Really?
my
You love
Well,
singing?
that's karaoke.
I do. Like when I'm at home, I sing all the time. I'll put the lyrics up on my TV with Spotify, sing along. I made my sister do a karaoke dance party with me when she was staying over at my house.
I've never seen this side of you.
That's right, because I'm a bad singer, so I don't sing in front of people.
But if you love doing it, I would think that you would let us in on that.
I feel a lot of shame because I'm so bad at it.
But that is it like entertaining to watch?
You just want to laugh at me.
Yeah, but I mean, I would.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you would laugh at me too. I would do it too. I'm not a good singer.
Are you not?
Actually, well, Jackie says she thinks that I could sing
Okay.
if I put my mind to it. Well, if I tried.
I would love to get singing lessons. That's something on my list.
Yeah.
On the topic of not ever having enough time to do all the things you want to do, that is one of those things.
You did dancing for a bit.
For a hot sec, I was on a dance team in middle school.
Dance team.
Whoa.
Dance team. It was not what it sounds like. It was not that intense in middle school.
In middle school, yeah.
But I couldn't stay on the team. I had to like miss one of
'Cause
the
your drug
practices, and that
problem?
was like an automatic. That too. Just kidding.
You didn't compete
don't do
with
drugs.
Tokyo? You didn't travel to Tokyo to compete in the dance competition, the dance off?
Is that where those take
No.
place?
I did not.
Yeah.
But anyway, so for like 2 seconds, I was on a dance team in middle school. But more recently, I've been wanting to like learn actual dance. And I didn't even tell you this. So there's a kind of dance called shuffling. I don't know if you've seen it. The way that people move their legs and their feet to do this is so cool.
I've seen
You've
this.
seen it.
Yeah.
So I've started learning some moves.
Is this recently?
Yeah, like
Oh,
very
really?
recently, like the
Oh, you're
past
still
couple
doing
weeks.
Oh, really? You're still doing the hip hop?
So the hip hop I was doing a little sporadically, but now that I've been turned on to this shuffling thing, I would really like to learn more. So slowly learning some moves.
Dance and sing. She can dance. She can sing.
Can't sing.
She likes. She
Can't
likes.
sing well. I like singing,
To sing.
but I'm not good at it. So
Are you good at dancing?
I've got rhythm. I do have rhythm, but I
got rhythm.
can't speak to how good I am at dancing, I guess.
I look forward to seeing the results of these lessons you're taking.
Same. Right now I'm trying to find like free tutorials
Oh
and
my
stuff.
God, are we
but-
all gonna go to Natalie's dance recital?
Oh, that'd be so cute.
I actually did reach out to
So
a dance
adorable.
studio in my town to see if they offered hip hop classes, but they did not. So
We got sidetracked. So Natalie, you were you went. So I also went to TCNJ. If we remember that, that's part of the story. We also always forget that. And then your professor said to do interactive multimedia. The iPhone had just come out.
You keep saying that.
yeah,
It's
I'm
like-
only 27, but thank you.
It's 2008.
Then what happened?
So yeah, so she turned us on to that, and I really liked it right away because it was an interesting combination of not only visual design but actually thinking through deeper problems. Because the way that people use things, and you'll know this if you use apps and websites and they're easy to use, you don't think about them. You don't
Yeah.
think about them at all. It's only
now
when
I
something
have
is
the-
hard.
fades into the
I got the
background, yeah.
13 now.
Oh, okay. That's great. So, but if they're hard to use, it is so obvious and so it's such a hindrance to your ability to do anything. These two guys giggling over here.
I'm listening.
Shut the fuck up, Mike. you suck at this.
Chris said you suck.
Interrupt.
Any hoozles. So that I really liked because it's a lot more complex to make things for people that they don't have to think about than it is to design something just visually, like a poster or something in print. And it's a different set of skills, I will say, but I just liked the combination of that, like human psychology, human factors, and how people interact with stuff, as well as the visual and making things beautiful. So that really touched me. And it turned out that one of my cousins, actually, who was also a graphic designer from what he had studied, was doing UX. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. So then he helped me get an internship, and that's kind of how I went down that path.
Bob's your uncle.
Right.
How about that? No, that's really
Did
cool
I say
'cause
uncle
feel
or cousin? Because it's my cousin. Did I say
Oh,
uncle?
you said cut. Yeah.
Okay, that
that's a
confused
different.
me.
That's a.
that's just a
That's
phrase.
just a
Okay, I know,
That's-
but then I was like, did I?
I confused you about your relative.
You did. I wasn't sure what I said.
You made her question everything.
Wait a second,
That
is he
often
my
happens
uncle?
with you too. Make me question it.
Hang on a second.
Sorry. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead.
That's the end.
No, that's all he had to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a ending
It's like
phrase.
a phrase.
It's like
That's
a
kind of
phrase.
where we
Okay.
put the graphic up and just kind of move on.
Got it.
So after getting into, well, that's all UI. How did you get into photography? Because you got into photography in college.
No, I did not. Photography I got
Did
into
not.
in high school, actually. So there was a new thing. One of my teachers, who was also my lacrosse coach at the time, she was the art teacher. So I knew her in a couple different ways, and she decided to start a photography club. And me and my friend Kim, Kim is like my photography buddy since high school, we both were really interested in it. We're like, oh, we should get cameras and do this. So ever since then in high school, we've been taking photos together. We'll be each other's models. So that was always nice. We'd make time to go out and take photos of nature or each other or whatever. And since then, I've been really into it and exploring different types of photography, like portraiture, landscape, self-portraiture, that kind of stuff.
You know what's funny is I find people really divulge into, like, once you get introduced to photography or video, people go down one or the other. Isn't that really interesting? They're
Like career-wise, or like
passion-wise, I
career-wise,
think.
passion-wise?
Like I always feel people lean towards one or the other. Where I feel like, kind of a layman may say like, oh, it's the same thing. Like one just moves and one doesn't.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But then you get into it and they're very different.
Very different. I feel
Very
like
different in terms of the approach of them and what you're trying to accomplish with them.
I feel like videography is much
And,
more complex because there's so many.
It's just
there's
different.
moving elements. Yeah,
It's just
I guess.
different, man.
I don't know. I'm always in awe of you
Yeah.
guys being able to do what you do. Not even in terms of just like setting up shots and thinking of how shots connect, but then also editing those shots, special effects. There's just so many moving parts. Whereas with photography, the output is a still image. So I feel like it's easier to manipulate. It's easier to get to a place where you want it to be because it's just a still image. I don't know.
Sure. There's some photographers. I don't totally remember the names. I know one of them I think is Greg Williams. Possibly, I think that's his name. There's also this other guy who I don't know his name, but I just know of him. He will you'll see him on the street, and he'll be fumbling with his camera and he has this presence where he doesn't really know what he's doing, but he does it on purpose. So
I understand.
So a lot of photographers, you see TikToks and videos of photographers going up to people to take their photos, right? And they want everybody to know that they're a photographer, basically. So they're very intrusive. But there's some guys who their whole thing is to basically camouflage themselves, and it has nothing to do with the editing. It has nothing to do with the post-production afterwards. They're so amazing at capturing life in the moment, and they focus on composition and they focus on the emotion and expression of the subjects, and they don't even photograph some. So Greg Williams also photographs a lot of celebrities and stuff, but he photographs them in this natural environment, and the way he is with people brings out a certain side of people that when he photographs them, it's completely different from when they're doing a print or some kind of press thing. But then this other guy who I can't remember his name, he does a lot of street photography of people, but his composition and what he captures is just incredible. If you start looking at the people that he's photographing, there's so much going on, and he didn't set any of it up. It's incredible. So it's like this whole other skill in itself of either just capturing the moment, but truly capturing the moment.
Yeah, that is something that I do admire in photography, is photographers like that. It's kind of like you're a documentarian. So what you're saying, you're not intruding upon people, but you're able to capture basically their essence in what they're doing without them really being aware that you're even there. That I do find very impressive. And you're right, that is a whole other skill set for sure.
Yeah, to me, that's a whole photography skill set that is completely different from video, because video, you can't do that. Video is so intrusive.
I see what you're saying.
The only time you can really do that is nature videos, I guess, because you're trying to camouflage from animals. It's hard.
We were just talking about a different subset of photography and videography with, we were talking about the museum in DC. You familiar?
No.
It's a whole museum for journalists, photojournalists and video journalists, and whole sections dedicated to people that died in capturing wars, capturing 9/11. They had a huge section. I was telling Mike on everyone that died during 9/11 and cameras that were recovered. Believe it or not, isn't that nuts?
That is insane. I had
Crazy.
no idea.
It was really. It's a really cool museum, all about photojournalism and stuff like that.
That's intense. That's
And
even
that's
a whole
one. That's
other
one
thing.
you don't even think about, right?
That's true. No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. it's such a-
Journalists and photographers who go abroad to war zones and things like that, active sort of areas where bad stuff is happening, that is a whole other ballgame that I couldn't even begin to fathom how people can do that.
But the photos they get.
Oh, incredible. Incredible.
Without them, the stories would not be as tangible as they are, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Without the emotion that they capture of these just super raw, oftentimes just horrendous moments, it wouldn't hit as hard. I mean, because as people were so visual, right?
Yeah,
You know?
no, that's true.
So you can read a story, or you can see it in like a person's eyes on the news, and that's what hits, man.
Which is a whole different subset of photography, which is completely different from your studio photographer, completely different from your product photographer. Like the product photography is like a huge thing. Like Peter McKinnon and like all those guys will make countless videos on how to shoot product, and it's a whole skill. But those guys also don't do that. That kind of journalistic photography. And it's just very interesting when you say take photos, and like you get hired to take photos and be, oh, you're a photographer, I hire you to take these photos. But like there's so many subclasses of photographer that have different tools, different skill sets, different approaches and processes.
Or they tell you to take a photo and you're holding a video camera.
You're holding your you're holding your Ronin, and they're asking you to do photos in it. Well, what?
You be nice and you just hit the shutter for them. And then you stop it and you pick a still later.
Well, you're nicer than me.
We already knew that. So
I just say no. It's a very simple no.
Nice.
A simple no, and they're like, well, it's in 4K, so you can just pull stills. And then I move on.
I mean, most of the time you can
You can
do that.
I will, yeah.
There's not much flexibility, but
but yeah, lots of niches of photography.
let's talk about codecs.
Oh, God. I saw incorrect Instagram the other day. These people, I didn't even know it was incorrect. I thought I learned new information, and then I had to read the comments, and they're ripping this guy apart for giving false information, talking about H.264 versus H.265.
Okay.
And how they compress and how they.
Okay, I'm not even really familiar with the difference.
Neither am I. That's why I was like,
Right.
oh, that's interesting. And then I read the
I know
comments
one's
like,
more high efficiency. That's about it.
okay, I don't know anything anymore because this is all fake apparently. This is all like
Now I don't know anything.
I don't know anything because now he's saying it all wrong.
I don't even know. We'll come back next episode and give you guys the definitive answer on whether you should be using H.265.
That they want to know. The people want to know.
The people want to know.
What do you use, Natalie?
Natalie,
well, actually,
you
whenever
shoot
I'm
JPEGs?
exporting, no, I shoot in RAW.
JPEG sequences?
raw.
No, we're talking about video. This is video.
Video. Whenever I export a video, the only thing I know is that I do H.264. Yeah. I think because somebody told me to do it once, and that's all I do.
No, it's true. It's the most common
Hasn't
used
changed
video
in like
format.
10 years.
So there you go. That's the extent of my knowledge.
What
on the matter.
bit rate do you guys export at? Everyone has their little special magical number, I feel like.
Depends what it is.
Depends on
Depends what the delivery is.
Talking heads.
So are we talking Instagram?
Social media.
Or YouTube?
Go to YouTube.
Okay.
What's your standard YouTube?
I won't go lower than 35.
Okay, yeah, 35 is actually one of the numbers I think they tell you is like a good number. I think 35 or 50.
I won't go above 50.
No.
I don't see a point.
Well, at 4K, maybe it is 4K 60. I believe they tell you to go up to 70 for something.
Really?
Yeah, YouTube tells you that. I mean,
really?
who's really gonna know? Do you check off 2-pass encoding? No, because nobody fucking tells the difference.
No, dude, I just do constant.
I used to dare Josh to like look at these side by side and tell me which one's 2-pass. I'll fucking dare you.
I mean, yeah. I used to do one pass.
We're boring that.
I used to do one pass with
my
the
eyes
range.
just glazed over already.
But I just do constant.
Anyway, that was fun. That was I could talk about that all day.
So Natalie, when I first met you, I thought you were an actor. as you thought I was.
You thought I was an actor?
Yeah.
Wait, you never told me that.
I mean, I met you in an acting kind of setting. I thought you were an actor. I thought you were going to school. I knew you were a student, but I thought you were like going to communications for like theater or for acting.
Oh, I thought you were a professional actor because I had seen you in a CMF, which is Campus Movie Fest, film. And I don't know if somebody else said it to me or you were just so good that I assumed you're a professional. That's going to go to his head. But I was like, this guy's a professional. Anyway, that's what I thought.
Deep breath. What the fuck are you doing?
So I didn't realize at first who you were.
But are you still in the dark? Do you know who I am now?
Now I know who you are.
And,
Unfortunately.
and we're still friends. That's good.
Shockingly, yes.
You guys have. Let me ask a question. Mm-hmm. You guys have like an interesting friendship dynamic. I still haven't. Like I don't understand it. I don't have this kind of relationship with anybody. You guys are violent. You guys are volatile in terms of your ups and downs.
Yeah, that's true.
Michael annoyed the shit out of you, and you tolerate it, but you clap back.
Just yes.
You clap back.
Always claps back.
Yeah.
Like Natalie will not speak to you for weeks at a time.
Weeks is strong.
Days.
Days is maybe more accurate.
But I will. I have.
Yes,
apologize when
he does apologize.
I do apologize.
But yes, we do have a very antagonistic relationship, friendship-wise, which I do have other relationships that are antagonistic like that. So that's not normal for me. We're mean to each other. Yeah. But underneath it all, we really care about each other.
Well, I mean, everyone kind of compares you guys to like brotherly, sisterly dynamic where you get on each other's nerves, but you like each other at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Nobody pisses me off, though, as much as Mike does.
That's so funny, dude.
I'm honored.
Okay. That's one way to look at it.
I push your button. I know how to push.
Yeah.
But why do you push your buttons?
He gets a lot of joy out of it. This is not the first.
I feel like we're in couples therapy now.
He's not the first person that's enjoyed pushing my buttons. It's because I react to things.
I guess that's what it is.
That's why.
It's getting a rise out of Natalie can be kind of
enjoyable.
Not easy, but I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. I guess I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
she won't tell me she loves me. That's true.
Really?
I've said to her, Natalie, thank you. I love you.
I feel like you're lying.
And then she won't say it back.
I don't think that's true. I think I have told you that I love you. I have, definitely via text message. I said that to you.
Over text message. She won't say it.
You want me to sit here and tell me that I love you? It's fucking weird. I'm not going to do it.
No, I didn't ask you to sit here and tell me you love me.
Well, you made a point about it being via text message. You have it in writing. Is that not better?
No.
So what do you think the Jets are going to do without
now Chris is
about
bored.
this season?
Does this answer your question about our relationship?
Should we talk about the time we almost stopped being friends during one of our Exodus shoots?
What'd you do to her?
You know. You were there, Chris.
I was?
In Paris.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I always forget that there's an American Paris.
The first. Yeah, we never. I mean, you could distinguish it because we've never been to the French one.
I was confused for saying it.
Paris, New York.
The first night.
Yeah, Natalie was pissed off.
He dragged us all the way to Paris, New York for a weekend shoot for Exodus. For a scene that was new to the film that we'd already been filming for better part of a year, right? And he tells me like a few days before that, like, by the way, we wrote a character and we want you to play.
A few days before?
Roughly 4 days.
That's a few. That's
oh
a few.
My God. You gotta be kidding
and I was
me.
like, granted, I do get excited about any opportunity to act. So that's one thing. But the other hand, I was like, oh shit, that is like 4 days away. Barely any notice that I'm going to be playing a character on screen. Up until this point, I was just behind the scenes. I was not in anything, was only going to be like an extra. So in like a cloak, you wouldn't have even seen me. It wouldn't matter what I looked like, all this stuff. So I wasn't really prepared for that. I think I might have had a cutoff. I was like, I don't want to be out later than like, I don't know what I said, like 1 a.m. or something like that. And granted, we're filming this outside on this farm, whatever. I just didn't want to be going to bed that late. When did we finish that night?
The first night?
Yeah, the
3
first
or 4.
night.
Roughly 3.
3 a.m.
So we got to sleep at 4 probably.
Yeah, so not really getting to bed until 4 a.m. it took us forever to get like anything done. We were out there for so long. It was cold.
3 shots.
3 shots.
We got 3 shots
We
done.
only got 3
They were
shots
good.
done.
They were good shots.
It all looks fantastic, but I remember being so pissed at Mike specifically for dragging us out here, for it taking longer that night than I'd wanted to be out there. And I just stopped speaking to him. I was so tired. I was so cold. It fucking sucked.
Yeah, she didn't say anything to me the whole. Well, at some point during the night, she stopped talking to me. And in the morning, we got breakfast, and
I did speak to you again.
Things were a little bit better.
I just figured if I was going to say anything, it would end up not being nice. So I just
But that's
stopped
fine.
myself.
That's also part of the thing. She can tell me what she really feels.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
so
a
that was
roller
rough.
coaster, man.
That was, and there was a lot. It was long nights filming that. So then after on the ride home, the very long car ride home after the whole weekend, we had a very long chat about how to never let that
How
happen.
to never do that again.
Well, yeah, then we got into doing those animatronic storyboards.
Yeah,
That's funny that was after. Yeah.
It was part of this. It was part of
Yeah.
the catalyst.
I know,
of,
I know.
Like the feedback.
Yeah, that event actually caused us to be, well, I mean, teachable moment, because this had always come up, but it became more of a time waster specifically on that shoot, because there were more than a handful of times where me and you looked at each other and said, okay, now we're going to do this way. And then one of us would say, oh, that's how you thought we were going to do this? I had it in my head we were going to do it this way. You waste 20 minutes here. You waste 20 minutes there. You got to change a setup. You got to change a thing. And we weren't on this same page so many times. There were a lot of issues that night, but that was one of them. That we weren't on the same page a couple times, and it wasted other people's time. So we said, we got to start doing boards, because that's the only way we're going to be able to see it visually and make sure that we're on the same page about what our visual is. So we got a software. What is it called? I always forget what it's called.
FrameForge.
It's FrameForge Storyboard Pro or something like that. And clunky little software, the stuff you get out of it. I think you can make the characters look better, but it gets the freaking idea across of like what your blocking is and what your basic lighting setup is going to be. And then, what we should have been doing the whole time, because that gives you ideas for what might be a better way to do it, or other shots that you might need, or that could replace what you had already thought of. So it was a process that we hadn't had in place, but the project had grown so big that it became necessary to just not waste other people's time. Because it's one thing when me and you are effing about with something and, it's kind of a off the cuff kind of thing, but this needed structure. We needed structure.
Yeah, especially when you're on a shoot you're not close to home. You have to get things done. You have a very limited amount of time that you're able to get that done.
Yeah.
It's like we weren't going to go back to Paris, New York to get anything we would have missed. So we really had to accomplish everything. And so that was one of the things that you guys started doing. And we also instated rules of this is the max number of shots we will try to get in a day. This is the latest we will shoot per day, just so that we're not asking people to be there for super late. And it was rough. We had some of our background actors asleep on set. It was rough. It was really rough. And we don't want to do that to people ever again. So.
Yeah. It's a good thing we're not union.
We've had so many violations, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of not do that to people ever again.
I know where you're going.
We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsor. Stay tuned to find out what the hell Mike is talking about.
When you got the...
And we're back. Mike, you were going to say something right before the break.
I was. Well, I was going to say collectively as a trio here, and not counting our fallen brother, Steve, May he rest in.
He's not dead.
Let's pull that one back. Steve is alive and well. Thank you.
Steve's okay, everyone. Don't worry.
Some of the Helium crew did a remote shoot, a travel shoot, you could say, where we worked on somebody else's project, where it wasn't one of our movies for once, which, as far as short films go, that was one of the first.
Definitely the first. I don't do anybody else's stuff.
Right.
The only reason I got involved with this is because I wasn't shooting it.
Yes.
I said, I'll do anything you want as long as you handle the camera stuff.
And that's what we did. And Natalie, you didn't know what you were going to be doing.
No, I did not.
When you
Signed up for this.
Well, even when you got there, you didn't know what you were going to be doing.
Also true.
Up until you were doing it.
I was assigned a title that I didn't really know what it meant.
You were flex.
I was, technically, unit production manager was the title that I was given, but I did a lot of different things on set.
Did a lot of physical labor.
There was a lot of physical labor.
Did a lot of art direction. You
that was
worked
fun.
with the art director, I guess, set art director. I don't know what that title's called, but the guy who did the props essentially and decorated the set.
Yeah.
You worked very closely with. And
that was my favorite part.
And you did a fantastic job from what they said, not from my opinion. So I am told. No, you did do a great job. But I'm sure, did you learn a lot on doing something like that you've never done before? Doing art?
Oh yeah,
set design?
the set decoration, whatever the official phrase for that is, was a lot of fun. I'd never done anything like that to that scale before, so it was really interesting to see not only the techniques that the art director Sid used to dress the set and to make things look lived in or decrepit. There were a lot of techniques, and then also products that he would use, like fake dirt. Had no idea that was a thing, and all the stuff that he sort of compiled to make this set look the way that it was supposed to, and the way that things had to change because we were using one room essentially to reflect a whole span of years and different places for the characters to inhabit. And that was really interesting to see the way that was imagined.
So to just help provide some more context here, we as a collective were hired to do
air quotes.
To
say volunteer. I don't have a contract.
Yeah, we volunteered our time.
We volunteered our time to help shoot and produce a short film up in Connecticut for 3 days. 3 to 4 days roughly. And closer to 4. We were in charge of camera, light, sound, and the stuff that Natalie did.
All the flex jobs.
Well, I didn't really talk to you about what you did. We were all busy doing our own shit.
So that's just to help provide some context. And Chris and I worked together in a capacity that we've never had worked together before.
So fun.
Where
so fun.
I camera operated and worked as the DP for the project, and Chris worked as the gaffer for the project, and essentially was like, he's my battery daddy. He was my right-hand man.
I forgot we came up with that term.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
It's so funny because the normal dynamic, right, is you're acting, I'm camera operating. We don't really have a gaffer. And you're very competent as a DP, and I'm very competent doing lighting. So it's like we got to use our powers to make something that we never had before. And it created like very nice results.
As an observer, you guys worked together so well. That was like
it
a
was
perfect
cool, right?
balance of both of your skills.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. Like I said, I was so excited about it. I'd been looking to get one for a while. I got kind of like a production vest. Kind of like a cross between like a fishing and military garb,
It's like a Molly vest.
It's got like 20 pockets in it. I was still finding pockets on like the third day that I didn't know about. So I would carry batteries for Mike, and we came up with the term we call battery dad. I was battery dad because I would keep all the batteries safe, and then I would put them to sleep in their where they belong.
He literally did.
Charge
when we got
them up.
back to
I tucked them in
where we were staying at night. He'd put them all in the little charging briefcase and said goodnight to them. It was so
I
cute.
kissed them all goodnight. It was cute.
It was very cute, but incredibly helpful. And like the dynamic we had was amazing, and like it was extremely fun working like that with you.
Should we kiss?
I wish we did at the time. The time has passed, but I wish we did. No, it was really cool because it was something that, I mean, may or may not happen again, but it would be cool to do it. And it also turned out we had coincidentally bought gear that complements each other.
Oh, that was so funny.
Not even knowing that the
God.
other one bought, like I bought tube lights that needed a stand, but I didn't have a stand for them. And Chris bought stands and crane arms, but didn't have anything to put on them until I bought the tube light.
Oh, that was so funny. We get together. You were like, I got these new tube lights. And I was like, I got these new stands. I know exactly what I'm going to do with that. And the whole time, we just ran that as a hair light. The whole time. It was perfect. Yeah, it was so funny because you had just gotten that like a couple days before, right? I did the same exact thing. I was looking at like, what am I going to need? I got some gaff tape. And then I was like, we're probably going to need, my stands are not good enough. And I got a brand new case. We geeked out. We got some new gear. It was cool. Between the two of us, we have a whole rental studio now. We have so much crap.
But yeah, I rent from you guys.
Oh my God,
Natalie
gets free rental.
Money.
Oh, Natalie,
rent.
I just sold you my life.
Yes,
You still want that?
I do. I still want
You still want that deal to go through.
Well, you can't take it until you pay them.
Yeah, I'll Venmo.
That's right.
You got to
him.
give them the cheddar.
There is digital money now.
Mike's behind the times.
Well, I have like I said before, I have the 13. If you took that and threw it, that would be so cool.
That would be the end. I would tell people about that for years.
Yeah, for years.
I think you'd actually be mad at me if I threw your phone.
But not in the moment. That'd have been fucking hilarious. That would have been freaking hilarious.
To the project.
Anyway, and not to discount, he's not here, but Steve ran audio. He ran audio for
God rest his soul.
not dead.
Not dead. Yeah, just
just keep saying it.
But he ran audio, which he did for a lot of Exodus too. So he had the experience on doing that, and we really didn't debrief with each other necessarily from that shoot. Like for our stuff, like what me and Natalie did, we had a post-mortem in the car and kind of a little bit of a debrief, which then I relayed back to Chris after our conversations.
He took a lot of the curse words out.
It happens a lot for me. Yeah.
A lot of the death threats and life-threatening threats on my family and my loved ones. Took those out. But we didn't do that for this project yet. So I am curious to know what Steve's experiences were.
Yeah. We did debrief each night,
I mean, I feel like it's kind of the same thing we went through of the people producing this just had never done something of this scale before. And there's just so many things, like some things went right, some things went wrong. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it was just some things that was lack of experience and some things that got out of hand. Of course, everything goes wrong on a film set. Nothing goes your way when you're trying to produce something. We know that from experience.
The only thing you can do is build in extra time.
Prepare as much as you can.
Yeah. Like the one shoot that Mike and I were co-wrote and were directing on, and Chris was our DP for, we'd done filmed part of this short film that we were working on. And that was, I think, the only shoot we worked on that we actually ended before the allotted
early. We ended early.
That was like unheard of. We actually worked with the same makeup artist on this recent project, and we were talking to her about that. She was like, I've never been on a production where we ended early. I was like, oh
really? She's like about ours?
Yeah.
I forgot that I had met her. I felt so embarrassed after.
Oh really?
I didn't realize. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's okay. It was a while ago.
We were focused on
It was a
one thing,
while
and it
ago.
was so fucking long ago.
It was really long ago.
No, is it? Yeah. When it comes to doing short films and doing your own thing, doing independent films like this with no budget, like this is not a low budget movie. It's not even a micro budget movie. It's a no budget movie. And
Your guys' thing.
no, they're the one that we just did together.
Oh, I thought there was.
in my opinion,
It wasn't nothing.
It wasn't nothing, but it's
Wasn't literally nothing.
When we're not getting paid and we're doing a very large majority of the lifting on the set days, and we're not getting anything. Yeah, I wouldn't even say Exodus had a micro budget. Like Exodus is also no budget. I put a lot of money went into it.
I understand,
you know,
what
but
you mean.
like
Yeah.
you have to obviously you got to put money into stuff for it to happen. But yeah, there's no budget. No one got paid.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Or whatever. But basically everything that can go wrong will go wrong. You have to think that it will go wrong.
Yes.
And then you have to be in tune enough to then adjust and make adjustments on the fly. And that's what we do that all the time. All the time. Things will go wrong.
Yeah, like you think a shot is going to take this long, add a lot of extra time to that shot.
That too.
You have to just, again, build in the buffer. I really think, because that's what we did for our shoot. We built in buffer, and that's why we ended early.
Well, that's the thing. In this situation, it's a 14-page script being basically, and when you kind of break it down, it's about a 6 to 7 day shoot day kind of a script that you're compressing into 3 days, which is three full 10 to 12 hour days of shooting will then turn into 16 hour, 18 hour, 20 hour days, consecutive days of shooting. If you're trying to do too much in one weekend, and you have to get everything done in that weekend because of the location we're in, because of the actors that you're using, because of where we're staying, for all the factors that the production itself put in place before we even got started, you have all these handicaps or even restraints rather that require you to, I don't know, you got to do everything you can to finish the movie in those 3 days, but you're not setting yourself up for success going into it. We did a lot of edits and editing of the script, compressing of the script, condensing of the script, cutting things out on the day, like right before shooting, because we absolutely had to, or else we weren't going to finish a movie and we would go home basically empty-handed. Now, when we do something like Exodus and go to Paris, we're doing
New York.
We're doing one scene of a larger project that if it doesn't get done in this weekend, it's not the end of the world. And that is what happened. We wanted to do it all in that one weekend because we wanted to be consistent with the location that we were in. And we were trying to treat it as like a little film getaway. And like, we're trying to we're going to be away. We're going to film it. We're going to finish the scene. We're going to do the scene in this weekend. And, the scene was too much. It was too big to do in that one weekend. But each morning we got together and we cut stuff out where we could and try to figure out what are the most important things that we need up here, and then made plans in the moment because of how day one went.
Quickly before I did want to talk about something here, which is a method of kind of when you're trying to get an overview of what your story is, of doing the note card method, which I think is like a kind of a standard thing, but writing down on note cards exactly what plot point you're trying to get across, and doing that, for, let's say you have 13 plot points, you're able to create yourself a little timeline. And that way, I mean, in the case of this project we just did, we were trying to cut stuff out. So it was really for the purpose of how many of those note cards can we get rid of? Like, what really needs to happen here to make a cohesive story? And it gives you such a wonderful top-down view. You're able to reorder some stuff sometimes because we were dealing with flashbacks. I would write on each card exactly what was a flashback. And you just get to play around until you find something that works. Because you could talk through it so many times and you can't hold that information. Like, your memory bank is like max 2 plot points. You can't see how it connects to everything else.
Yeah.
So
Organizing things in that visual way is very helpful. And there's a similar thing in user experience design where you research called a card sort. You basically take like a navigation structure and break it out all into its bits, and then have users organize them in the way that makes sense to them. So it helps you understand the way that they perceive and think about things, and then you organize it that way so that presumably it'll be easier for them to navigate when they're using the website or app, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's a common paradigm that you could apply to different areas for sure.
I think there's a similarity too between user testing in user experience and doing test screenings, right? Because because like you were saying, usually the things people point out are the things that aren't working naturally.
Yes.
Like something feels unnatural about it. And a lot of times people don't have necessarily the language to communicate exactly what's wrong. So they'll say, this feels weird, or I don't like this. And like, you'll say, and you having all the knowledge is like, okay, I think I see where where people are feeling wrong about this kind of thing. So it's like when you're test screening for your brother or your cousin, telling us like the action stuff is like we know that's working because they're so hyped about it. But there were some story things that they were like, okay, it's a little slow here, right? That's the thing we hear a lot, slow. And it's like, okay, that's kind of an umbrella term, right? It's a generic term. So we dive in and we,
You're right, though. The parallel makes a lot of sense. It helps you dig in to where the problem areas are, for sure. Well, one thing, I don't know are we still talking about the project or
sure?
Pivot?
No, whatever.
I think one thing I would like to know about everybody here is how they got into filmmaking. Like, what was the first thing that propelled you into this?
Well, I started at the very first project I was pulled into the local film festival on campus when we went to college. I was the music guy. I still kind of thought I was going to go to school partially for music. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do my freshman year. And I was known as the music guy. I was, like I told you guys before, I was writing songs in college, in my little dorm room, making awful songs. Terrible. No one should ever be subject to those songs that I wrote. But I loved movie scores too. So I would do, that was kind of a role that wasn't filled in our little film group, was someone to do sound and music. So I boom opped the first year, and I didn't really work much with the camera at all, even though I consider myself an editor at that time as well. I used to edit for like our YouTube channel and things like that. But I was more of the audio guy. And then I guess it just kind of progressed. How did I get started doing more camera stuff? It must have been through a class or something like that, where I started doing my own filming. And I wish I could pinpoint to like a specific moment. I think I just kind of just naturally took over that role, started working with Ryan more. When I started working for TCNJ doing the marketing shit, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. The very first shoot I did, I actually fucked up. I had my shutter cranked. It's classic noob, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And I remember we were asking Josh, our senior at the time. He was 2 years our senior, or 1 year. I forget. It's been so long now. But he was like, you goofed. You had your shutter cranked. And I was like, what does that mean?
It's hard to imagine a time when Chris was a noob, because
Chris
he's just
didn't know
so
what a shutter is?
incredibly talented and adept at what he does. So that's a fun thing to think about.
Thanks, dude.
No, seriously, actually, because I didn't really know Chris personally in college, but I knew of him. And how I knew of him and our friend Ryan was through you would produce and make the TCNJ stuff, and through the Campus Movie Fest. And I was always in such awe. Again, I had no idea who they really were. I was like, wow, they're so talented. So that's cool.
I think from that, I got hyper focused on like, then when I didn't know what shutter was, me, I'm like super technical. So I dove into it immediately. I'm like, okay, I got to figure this all out. Like, what does this all mean? So I just got hyper focused on that stuff, just trying to make the TCNJ stuff look as good as I could. And I just kept going down that road of how to make stuff look beautiful, and how to get good footage. I remember playing with at the time, those, what the hell were the stabilizers called? The freeform systems. What the fuck are they called?
Flycam.
It was called Flycam? I think there might have been another one.
The little weights at the bottom.
Yeah.
Flycam.
Okay, yeah. Those sucked.
Oh, they're terrible. I had one.
You had to have such technique with them. Oh my god.
Think of like the gimbals we use, except with no
electronics.
electric motors.
It's all weights and
You're
balancing.
using these little weights at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because if you put too many, the camera would go forward. You're holding this little.
It's just a
Handle.
Holding a pole. So you're holding a handle that's attached to the pole, but the pole can freely move around on a swivel.
Counterbalance.
So you got to counterbalance the bottom, but depending on the kind of camera and the weight up here, it could be shorter or longer. And then you had to put the weights, but then like you had to hold the camera and it had to like.
But there were no gimbals at the time.
Gimbals
They had, you know, they had the big ones they would use on TV shows and movies.
Right, those things.
And there would be no in between.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So the Ronin M was like one of the first ones, but it was like this big cage-like thing where the camera go. Oh, that like really expensive. Like no consumer could afford that. It wasn't until 2017 that the Ronin. I remember the year because I was doing weddings. The Ronin S had just come out, and I got it like the week it came out.
And now you see everybody. With
now everyone has a Ronin. Now it's like they're on the Ronin 3 or 4 now, whatever it is.
So that's Chris's story of how he got into it. Mike, how did you get into filmmaking? Was it through acting, like being dragged into acting? Like how did all of that come about?
It was a little bit of both. It was a little of two things happening at the same time. Because I went to TC&J for video game design.
Right. Again, I always forget that.
Yeah, I did a lot of 3D art. I was a 3D artist and like modeler and texture artist. That's what I went to community college for. Then went to art school for a brief period, but it wasn't technical enough. And I strive in the technical rather than the traditional when it comes to art. And so TC&J had actually had a good video game program, which was called something different. And that's why when in my searches for colleges, it never came up. I could not find a video game design school in New Jersey because it had, I forget what it was called, but I mean, it's the IMM major.
Right.
Because it's like this umbrella that you can kind of pick and choose.
It was everything and nothing at the same time.
Right. But in there was these game design classes and courses and like using the Unity engine and like all these things like, oh my God, yes, that's what I want to do. That's the stuff I want to do. Implement these things into games, like actually make the thing, not just draw naked people, which I was doing. I was doing, they say in front of you, you draw them.
Oh yeah.
In Florida, that's what I did. That's what they had me do. I was like, art, I don't know what I'm doing.
It's like classical art.
I'm drawing like fucking like stick figures, and these the people next to me are drawing like beautiful works of art, and I'm like, you know how embarrassing? Like it was insane. It was insane that I did it for as long as I did because it was.
You told me about this.
Dude,
yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what to compare it to besides being in a room full of like incredibly talented artists and you don't know how to draw at all, and yet you guys are all in the same school in the same class and expected to do the same stuff. And like, I mean, every class I'm like sweating bullets. The anxiety was through the roof.
That's hilarious, dude.
Oh man, it was a trip. I played a lot of football there. It was my one outlet. They had a flag football team for some reason, and I was really good at that at the time. What was I saying?
So how'd you get
that's right. So at TC&J, I was there for that. I took some basic course, and one of the final projects was an optional thing to do a video. And then I was like, I'll do the video part. I rented some Canon.
We had
whatever
ADDs from the cage.
Yeah. Rented that. Got together with two of my closest friends, two childhood best friends, Eric and Dan. Dan we know from all of our movies, and basically went to Dan's house and had them do weird stuff in the backyard in the woods while I filmed on the camera, and then made a fake movie trailer with action and actually had a choreographed single take 1 minute fight scene that I did in there for the first time. And that was because of my martial arts background and had done that. And it was because of that that I met this other kid who then, when I became a senior in my capstone, he was making a senior project, a film project. And then I was like, oh, that's how I started getting involved in like getting interested in doing film, but I was still taking video game classes at the time. And this is long-winded because this is what I did.
Story.
And a friend that I met in the senior capstone had an actor for his thing that dropped out. He's like, well, I mean, I need somebody. Can you do it? Would you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, man, that sounds good. Yeah, I wasn't like technically like interested in acting. It's just whatever. And then on that project, the guy who DP'd that liked the way I looked. And then he wanted to put me in his movie. And then I won Best Actor at CMF. And then I met you. And then Chris asked me to do a Star Wars project, a lightsaber thing. And then I did lightsaber LCC with Dan and Eric. And then it just kept going on and on and on and on. So I was like interested in the filming and then got roped into the acting and then just kind of kept going and just fell in love with all of it.
It sounds like that classic, like, course correcting your career based off what you know, like you can pinpoint exactly where, oh, I didn't like that, but I really like this. Mm-hmm. And like those gaps were wide at first. And then it's kind of narrowed down into like, I really like this thing. And you start aiming towards that, you know?
It got narrowed down too because of outside forces and people telling you that you're good at something. And then, because you can think that you're good at something and think that you like something or have something in mind that you want to be good at. And that for me was the video game stuff. And I finished my major, like I took up until like I was taking the advanced video game classes. I never stopped taking them because there wasn't really any film classes anyway. So I just kept taking the video game stuff. I have games on my phone that I made and like did the artwork for, and I actually like animated and like you can play them and stuff, which was really cool. But it wasn't until like people were telling me that you're good at this thing. And when you start getting told that, it starts to like, you know, I think you start to go towards it more. And it's not even an ego thing. Just like because you're so young and you don't know what you want to do and you don't know what you're going to be good at in general when you're in your 20s like that. And then when you find it's helpful. It's
somebody
helpful.
Else tell you that.
Yeah, it's very helpful because you can be trying your whole life at trying to do something and never have anybody tell you that you're good at that thing. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I'd actually started with the desire to act. That's how I sort of got on this whole trajectory. When I was younger, I remember very specifically, I was watching, I think it was Uptown Girls, that movie with Dakota Fanning, and she was young in it. And, you know, not that different from my age at the time when I was watching it. I was like, she gets to play pretend like for a living. And I loved that. I was the kid that was always making up my own fantasy worlds and dressing up and basically creating characters for myself all the time. So I did that anyway. And I was like, she's doing it. She's doing the thing. And I remember I marched into my mom's room. I was like, Mom, I want to act. And I don't know internally in her head what was going on at that time because your kid tells you they want to act.
Yeah.
Definitely nothing good.
Drugs, sex, rock and roll.
Yeah, definitely
Not my
bad
daughter.
things. It's like a weird industry to want to get into. So then from that point on, I became like obsessed with trying to find like acting classes. I attended acting classes that I just went on the internet, found for myself. Acting classes like that, like theater kind of classes. You know, when you like would hear on the radio, like, does your kid want to be on Disney? Like that kind of shit. Literally, I was like, I want to do this. I want to go and do this thing. And I don't know why my parents agreed, but we went, brought along my sister, my cousin wanted to come do it too. So we all went to this thing at some like hotel and there were these people like hosting and you have to like cold read in front of them and on camera and all this stuff. And basically the whole point was to either get accepted or not into this like program or something like that. I ended up getting accepted, but it was definitely going to be a scam. So my parents definitely knew that. So they're like, yeah, you're not going to do this. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And yeah, basically the whole thing's a scam.
What was it? Wait, why?
Why was it a scam?
How'd you know that?
It's like, I don't know, but they always like promise you like your kid is going to be the next Disney star. Over promising stuff. And my parents are not dumb. So they were like, This is definitely not true.
We're
You're
gonna
gonna
make
be
you
the
a
next
star.
You're gonna be the next Britney Spears. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't know who that is, but you're gonna be the next.
You know, like the next Hannah Montana or whatever at that age, like
Casey
that kind of
Neistat.
stuff. So, like things like that. But I'd always be interested in trying to find those things. Then I went and found like an agency, a talent agency, like a local talent agency. Again, of my own volition, I just found it.
How old were you?
This was like maybe right before middle school.
Wow, you're
Middle
young.
school. Yeah, I was young. But I was like obsessed.
Jeez.
And up until this point, like I'd only ever like me, my cousin, and like my best friend at the time, we like made our own film like around Halloween time, like in our neighborhood and at my friend's house. So like
Sure.
we did little things like that, and I found ways to like do the thing. But then I found this talent agency, and it was local, easy peasy. So then I went through them, and I was like an extra in a couple of feature films through them. But it became hard to like kind of balance that kind of stuff. My parents would have to take off of work to like drive me to God knows where,
Right.
to be on this film set all day, to just like have part of me in part of the scene. Like you're a background actor, so it's
Can we find
not-
you?
Yeah, actually, in one of the movies, you can see like my backpack. Like I point that out to you. But in one of the other ones, it's such a large
Yeah,
crowd.
I'll
I
have to
couldn't
have a
find
night.
myself.
Yeah.
Just try to find Natalie. It's like
Natalie?
where's Waldo, but where's Natalie? Yeah, so I did that, and then senior year I was in the fall plays, not in any like lead role or anything like that. I just liked it so much, and being on stage and like being able to be someone different than myself. I always really enjoyed that. So did that, and then
Did you know that me and Mike actually got tipped $50 because we sang "America the Beautiful" together?
what? When? Where?
In New York, at a networking event.
Networking
Oh, at that
event.
networking event.
Told you
I didn't
that
know
story?
you got tipped. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, guy was so impressed with our singing, gave us $50.
$50. He loved our passion.
He loved it.
My passion. He loved my
Wow.
passion specifically.
That was
That
the point of my
is-
story.
that was the
I thought
point.
it was funny.
Very interesting. Well, I will never be in that situation because
So-
I do not sing in public.
So that means, Natalie, you've been. I mean, I can only go back and trace bits and pieces of like, oh, well, I did martial arts, and like I loved being on camera doing home movies, and I loved doing martial arts, and I loved martial art movies, and I always did lightsaber stuff with Dan outside. But you, from a very young age, have kind of always wanted to be basically doing
Yeah.
what you're currently doing.
Yeah, no, it's true. And actually, I forgot too that like in elementary school, I forget how I found out, but it was when I was first interested in acting, and I was like at CCD at church, whatever, and
I
somebody
know
had mentioned a
CCD.
church TV show. I was like, oh my god,
What?
an opportunity to act on camera.
Your
right?
church had a TV show?
Yeah.
I didn't. Oh, yeah, Ryan's did too.
What I didn't know was that it wasn't like acting; it was more of like a talk show. But it was like kids talking about religion and stuff like
God.
that. So
Oh, that
like
sounds
every
terrible.
Sunday, literally would like have to figure out what we were talking about, be on camera, and do it. And honestly, like I did like it to be on camera. I just enjoyed that whole thing. At one point, I thought I wanted to be like a news anchor, just because like
Can we see these? You have?
yeah,
your
I
parents
have all the discs.
Really?
I have all
Oh
the CDs.
my
We could do
God.
a night.
What? Yeah, we should do a night because we
Well,
have.
we keep talking about all this stuff from like our
Past.
childhood and our high school, middle school. We got to share. We got to do a share night.
We did some. We did like cringe
Yeah, did
movie
we?
night. Because one of the
Oh.
things that I shared was from high school at my senior year. One of the other kids in my grade created a whole film festival. So I wrote, directed, and shot and edited
Oh,
a
right.
film.
We watched that.
for that, and we watched that.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, and that was the first time that I guess like I did all of that. Besides when I was little with my cousin, we shot our own little Halloween movie, which was a lot of fun. I wish I could find that. But yeah, and then I got into theater more in high school. Continued doing that in college. I auditioned a lot for theater in college. I did not get cast in like anything.
I saw you in a play.
Senior year. Yeah, it wasn't until senior year I got
Okay.
cast in like an actual thing. I did like little things like the 24-hour play festival, that kind of stuff. But you know,
Okay.
everybody got cast for that. So I was like, wow, I must be really bad if I'm not getting cast in anything.
Well, who's making the decisions? Other students?
Somewhat were other students, but some we hired professional like directors to do it. So I was like, I suck. It was very discouraging, but I kept auditioning just because I was like, this is what I like doing. And I got involved behind the scenes producing. Those were the first times I ever really produced anything, was in theater, because I was on the executive board for that. So I got a lot of experience in organizing and putting on shows and all the logistics that go behind running a production. That was a lot. And then I met you, like stuff together. We made a campus movie fest film together. And then it wasn't until after college that then you really connected me with Chris and Ryan on the set of something that I think you guys never actually put out.
Was that
the
Alleyway?
Alleyway.
Part
It was
one?
Alleyway. Yeah.
I'm still upset about that project.
It was really cool.
I feel like I didn't take enough of a role in that project as like, because I had a vision for that project. And
I wasn't involved in that, actually.
I know. No, but you were. You were the first person I pitched the idea to.
I meant as far as like producing it with
Right.
you or something.
Oh,
like that.
okay.
Yeah, I think you pitched it to me, but then I was just acting in it.
Yeah, I think we started changing things, and I didn't want to speak up too much because I wanted to be kind of like a collaborative thing. And I think it took away from what I was initially trying to get out of it imagery-wise. Like, I knew the imagery I wanted, and I think we changed some things that I wasn't confident enough to say, no, let's do it my way, you know? That I think took away from it in the end. And we forgot to wet the fucking ground. I'll never live that down.
Did we have a hose?
No, we have water, though. We bought
we did?
jugs for it.
Oh, you were prepared to wet the ground. We
forgot, because we were changing things and doing stuff. So funny.
It's just weird to think that we didn't all really become like our group until after college, even though we all went to the same college
it is weird.
at the same time.
It is really funny.
Yeah, we all just knew of each other.
You never know what's going to trigger that one idea.
It's true. I have so many notes on
I had a
my
bunch of
phone of
random
like
ideas.
random ideas that come to me. Like for
Yeah.
I've got ideas for apps, for photos that I want to do, for film sometimes, poetry. It's a lot of shit on there.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot. I have more than I can count of voice notes of song snippets of I come up with a melody or, you know, same thing. 90% of them go nowhere.
Right.
But I actually do number them. I think I'm up to 20 of just song ideas, and I just call them song idea. And every once in a while, I go back to it. I'm like, oh, that is such a good riff. Maybe I'll find a use for it someday. It's the same methodology, you know. If you just keep it in the back pocket, because you never know when you're gonna come back to it.
And even if you can't find a use for it right now, it'll come back around at some point. For sure.
If you write things down.
Yeah, he doesn't write things down.
Oh, I'm the worst at
He'll
writing
just
things
call
down.
people and then ramble for like an hour. And he's like, oh,
At least
I
you
should
started
probably write this
recording them.
down.
That was a step in the right
Yes.
direction. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, at least it's recorded.
Yeah.
You need a personal assistant. That's what you need, a personal assistant like who listens and like creates transcripts.
Yeah.
I need an AI.
Yes.
I need an AI assistant, like a thing I can
Probably
wear.
are out there already. Thing you can wear? What the fuck did that
The
come
whole
from?
exoskeleton.
There's a
Trying to be
there-
Tony
there
Stark
actually,
over
there
here.
actually is this thing that someone showed me that's it's a button. It looks like a button. It's basically like a pin.
You're gonna
pin that you
install a
wear.
button on yourself.
It's made by one of the first guys who made the iPhone.
Okay.
Why do you keep bringing up the iPhone?
Yeah, he's very fixated.
No, that's just a coincidence.
Technological revolution, the iPhone.
But it's an AI. It's an AI assistant.
Okay.
But you wear it, and then you can talk to it, and it's like, it uses T-Mobile as a T-Mobile plan or something.
Oh, my mom's calling me.
You're not selling this well.
Yeah, no, it's like this thing you can wear, and it's like this little AI tool, and it's multiple AIs actually. It's like 3 different AIs, and you can. I'm not making this up.
That sounds so fake.
It's really hard.
It looks really weird. It's like $800.
Multiple AIs. What does that fucking mean?
Well, you can ask it things. You can tell it to record.
'Cause there's different,
you
like,
can tell
AI
it- there's different
models
AI,
that do
there's different AI
different
models,
things.
and it learns. It's like having Jarvis, but you wear it. It's like a pin. You wear it as like a pin. It's like a thing you clip.
This guy's fucking
All
Tony
right.
Stark. He's gonna put it like right in the middle of his chest.
Well, my point was to have something that I need to have on me, so that when I
Yeah.
think of something, I could just ramble. I could just talk out loud.
I mean, if Siri were better, you could
Yeah,
use
Siri was better. I need something in the shower. I need something like thing in the shower that.
Sometimes you texted me before at like 4 a.m. in a cold sweat
With an idea or a solution
with
to
an
whatever
idea
we're,
or a solution
to whatever we were trying to work through.
Yeah.
I'll wake up with it.
Oh wow.
Randomly and just like I got it. Just like,
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. I just
Well, that's the way you work. I mean, I feel like you get hyper fixated on a thing to to solve it. You know, like you have to put all your energy into it, and you do wind up coming up with something. but like it like fucks up your life. So that's like the trade-off.
Yeah.
That's like the trade-off is like you can't eat or sleep
Or function like any
or
other
function
normal
or
human
talk
being.
to anyone without getting angry.
Right.
until it's done.
Until it's done, yeah. Basically, yeah. It's like a self-destruction kind of thing for the sake of
Neglects all else but the film.
I've thought about getting a couple times recently. I've needed that little moment that I take sometimes to shut off my phone. I've told you about this before. I actually thought about getting like doing that more often and getting in like an emergency phone to tell like, because that's the only thing I worry about if I turn my phone off for an extended period of time, like if my mom would reach me if there was an emergency or something like that. I don't know. You ever think of something like that?
Would you consider doing like one of the modes and then only allowing certain people?
For some reason, it's not the same.
there's something different.
I don't know why.
When you turn it off, it's like off.
Yeah, easier
Yeah.
to
It's
put
just
aside and not think about.
Yeah.
When it's off.
It's a weird feeling that like it's very therapeutic sometimes. And I was really stressed out maybe a couple of weeks ago about something. I couldn't remember what it was. But then I turned it off and I was like, I wish I would just feel bad if I missed like that call that something happened, you know? So you can't do it for too long, I feel like. But I was like, dude, at this point, I would even just get another fucking line and just like have only my main family have that number, you know? Like a flip phone, you know?
yeah, you got a burner.
So if something happened terribly amongst your friends, we would not be able to reach you.
No.
Sick.
Yeah, we don't count.
I'm definitely not giving Mike that fucking
I'll get that number. I'm gonna.
No, but like he's not answering. I need to tell him about this movie idea.
I will call.
I got an idea. That's not what this number is for.
It's an emergency idea. You need to hear it now because I'm gonna forget it. Because I don't write shit down.
I keep like fucking things up when I'm on the phone with you. Like,
Oh, she went the wrong way.
I was driving into New York and
no.
we were talking, so I was distracted and then I went the wrong way and it added like 15 extra minutes to my travel time. And then one time I was cooking, I didn't even tell you this, I was cooking in the middle of cooking and I realized after we'd hung up I fucked something up because I forgot a whole step because we were talking.
Yeah,
I was like,
dude.
I can't talk on the phone when I'm like doing these things.
That's
anymore.
multitasking. You always think you can multitask. And you fucking
No,
can't.
I can't.
I'd like to do a game between you guys.
Okay.
Between you two. I'd like to like moderate a game between. I kind of want to do like the Newlywed Game. Do you guys have like, can you like have an app where you can draw on your phones by any chance?
You could do that in
Or
notes.
maybe on notes. Can we do that
You
real
can draw.
quick? Can you guys both heat up your phone real quick?
I've never done
Heat
that.
it up. I gotta boot it up, Chris.
I don't have to because I have the iPhone 13.
Shut up.
Okay, so the way it works,
How do I change my thickness?
you got something you can write with?
He's not really
how did you,
savvy.
Right. You're right. Which one is that?
Oh, put your phone on
This,
the
like,
on the
felt tip
lowest
marker.
brightness too.
Lowest brightness, okay.
All right, I got it working.
Okay, you got it working? Okay, we're going to start with Natalie. Let's see if she can get a point here. We're going to ask you what Mike's worst habit is. And
it has to match
you
up
have to
with
guess.
his.
It has to match what he said. You have to know.
I
You
have to write it?
Yeah. You have to know what your worst habit is, or I guess what she would guess.
Actually,
I think
I'm
you're
gonna
supposed to
write
do
this
what you
sideways.
think your worst habit is.
Yeah.
Is that how new?
I have to do what I think.
Yeah, you have
my
to
worst
do
is.
your own, and then
Yeah.
if they match,
Yeah. We went through a couple of them in this show.
there's just so many to choose from.
And let me know when you guys think you have your answers here.
I don't even know if this is a habit. So,
Oh God, here we go.
Okay.
all right, I got mine. I don't know if this is a habit though.
Okay, show yours first, Natalie. Show the camera.
I can't see.
It says
Hyperfixation
hyperfixation
on movies,
on films.
on films.
Okay,
Yeah, is that a habit?
I don't
that's a
know.
tendency. I don't. I'm not gonna get in the mic.
Rambling.
Actually, that's a good one.
I mean, they go together, but
That's a good one. All right, no points awarded. Mike, your turn. What is their pet name for you? So, what is Natalie's pet name for you?
oh, okay,
Let's see if we can get one here.
done.
All right.
I go first, right?
Yeah, because you're presenting.
Miku.
Miku. Hey! Points awarded.
Pause.
Heck yeah.
We got
Well
one.
done. All right, we're going to try and get to 5 here. Natalie. Ooh. What is Mike's favorite thing about you?
He doesn't often compliment me, so I don't really.
That's tough. That'll be tough then.
This is going to be a tough one, yeah.
What was the question?
I don't remember.
What's your favorite?
I don't know if this is...
Yeah, what's your favorite thing about Natalie?
Who goes first?
Natalie goes first.
I put my creative feedback.
Oh, okay.
Aw.
I wrote collaboration.
Oh,
I'll give that to you. All right.
yay!
I just generalized it.
Mike, what is the one thing that you and Natalie are most likely to argue about?
Are most likely to argue about? Or
Yeah.
more? Say it again?
What is the thing that you and Natalie are most likely to argue about?
Okay.
If you're having an argument, what is it most likely about? Okay, Mike looks like he's done, Natalie.
No, I know.
Yeah.
That was not a look of done.
Oh, really?
That was a look of
Confusion?
trying to put it into a
Oh,
word.
okay.
I'm trying to put it into a single word. Who goes first? Me?
Who did I ask? I think
you
I
asked
think
me.
it's your turn, yeah.
Personal space, time / boundaries.
Time.
Oh!
Yeah, like whether it's on movie sets or trying to hang out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I need a fucking break.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah, and he's like, no, let's do stuff right now. That's funny.
Anyway, that was good. That was a good one. All right, let's see if you guys can get this one. This is going to be an interesting one. Natalie, can you guess how Mike likes his eggs?
Oh.
Let's see. Let me take a wild guess here.
Okay.
All right, you have your answer, Natalie?
Over easy?
Over easy? Oh, none?
No, scrambled.
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 Oh!
That was gonna be my second.
I've told you that I make really good scrambled eggs.
I don't remember.
See, you guys are like a real... I've told you. All right, back to you, Mike, right?
Okay.
Who would win between the two of you in a game of Monopoly?
Fuck.
You kind of got a 50-50 shot here.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Kind of.
Right, because it's either me or her.
Right. So you're agreeing with
So
me.
mathematically, yeah, you're right.
I don't know. Is she making fun of me? I don't know.
Kind of. I don't know.
I'm just trying to fill in the dead air. A lot of waiting in this game. All right, Mike, who would win?
I hope I spelled her name right.
Natalie.
I put Mike.
Oh my God!
Because I don't care.
What the fuck kind of answer is that?
I would not have the stamina to actually finish a game of Monopoly. I would lose
Wow.
interest in board
See, you
games
should have
very
known
easily.
that. You should have known that, Mike.
He likes board games way more than I like board games.
I think we've got 3 wrong though, right? I haven't been keeping
Yeah,
track.
we've not had a really great track
So
record.
we
We did get 3 wrong.
I think we got 2.
So this is 6. So you got to get 2 out of the next 4, right?
Ooh, or we get divorced.
Or you have to
we're not
leave.
friends anymore.
Yeah.
So Natalie,
Yes.
what is the thing that Mike is likely to end up in jail for?
Interesting. He already knows.
That's weird that he already
I know.
embezzling.
I don't know what this is called.
You're going to jail for something she can't even spell, Mike.
No, I just don't even know what the term.
Oh, you don't know what it's called.
Yeah. Oh shit. Oh, this.
This. I don't know what it's called.
yeah.
Oh, this.
I was trying to think of the phrase. Okay. Okay, my turn.
All right,
Who'd
now-
you ask this? Oh.
Like public disturbance. Like I feel like he would cause public
Oh
disturbance.
my God.
He'd be like doing some sort of improv thing and then get so into the character that it becomes like unruly.
That's not a bad one.
Mine was more like
Like
legally,
actually
like,
criminal.
weapons on a film set.
Oh,
Yeah, getting
all right. That's
us doing
All
a
right,
movie.
three more. You need 2 out of the next 3. All right, let's see if I can give you one here. Mike, what is Natalie's biggest fear?
It's,
many fears.
well, it's not death. I'll tell you that.
No, it's not.
She wants to die.
The idea of it does not bother me.
I mean, I don't know if it's like her biggest fear, but I think it's one of the things that she fears.
All right, I'll give you a couple if you write down 1 or 2.
Oh, okay.
I put like a slap.
Or yeah, like a slash.
I'll just go with my one.
All right. All right, Mike, what do you think?
Snakes
Snakes
and
Was she
clowns.
Indiana Jones?
It's snakes and clowns.
But it's not snakes and clowns because you wrote snakes.
And clowns.
And I feel like you can't even do a slash with that one.
I don't mind snakes.
No, what did you put in there?
Clowns I am afraid of, but the complacency / being unfulfilled.
Oh my god.
Snakes and clowns. I'll give it to you.
It's not the biggest. It's just
You need 2 of the next 2. All right, Natalie.
Ooh, okay.
Who said I love you first, Natalie?
between us.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's obvious.
Okay.
Natalie.
Mike.
Like,
Yep. Yay! All right. It comes down to the last question. It comes down to the very last question. We either win
is
it
it
all.
spiders?
No.
Is there a bug you're afraid of?
No. The like when those 1,000-legger things get really meaty, it's like a visceral reaction.
That's
I
not what
have
I'm
to
thinking
kill
of.
them.
All right.
Okay, I gotta get a good one here. 1 second.
I do hate clowns though.
I know you hate clowns.
Yeah. I'm pretty chill with most insects.
I think I did for a second cross my mind becoming nothing, which would have went along with
Yeah.
what you said.
Like amounting to nothing, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if you guys remember. Whose turn is it? Mike or Natalie's?
Mine.
His.
Mike. What is the first movie you and Natalie saw together?
Oh shit.
Saw. Oh.
I could specify if you
No,
want. Do you
I
want me to?
saw
Do you want me to
together.
say in theaters together? Would that be?
Oh, in
that-
theaters would
that's-
be more specific.
That's easier.
Is that easier?
Is that easier?
I can think of one, but it's got to be the first one.
Go with your gut.
So
This one's not in theaters though. The first one.
I don't know. Well, see, that's why it's one of these two. Can I put your?
You can put 2. You can put 2. I'm a very lenient game host. I would not be hired. yeah, break the rules. I don't give a shit. I'll get a paycheck anyway.
It's my turn. Well, in
Yeah,
theaters we
Mike.
saw 8th grade, and then we also watched Quiet Place.
I put A Quiet Place.
Hey, we'll give it to you.
I don't know which came
A
first.
Quiet Place was definitely not in theaters. So
No,
eighth
it
grade
wasn't
was
in theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot we saw that.
You're the newlyweds.
Wow.
You know each other like pretty
Sort of,
okay.
okay.
Sort of okay. I can't go
like
backwards.
7
I think that's what we
years of
learned
friendship.
together. I thought that would be appropriate to end on a movie question.
Yeah, I like that. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a good one. Snakes.
Snakes.
Natalie's over here. The heat death of the universe. And Drunk is like, I thought you really hated those slippery things.
There's something slippery you don't like. Which one is it? All right, it's either that or clowns.
Oh boy.
Put them together.
All right, I think that's gonna do it for us today, folks. Until you make it. Now you should come on again. This was fun.
I would love to.
We
This is great.
gotta have some. I think we should do some repeat guests every now and again. Have Josh back on. Anson wants to do another show.
Oh, really?
And
Cool.
yeah, so maybe we'll do that again soon. But until
Not
what's
too soon.
like one piece of advice you could give? What's like your life advice? What have you learned so far in life?
I would say do what makes you feel most like you and surround yourself with people who make you feel most like you, because
Aw,
I've done things that I've not really enjoyed or thought I would and didn't and stuck around in those things for too long, and that's just a waste of time. And then I've been around people that I just don't feel like my most authentic self, and honestly it's exhausting. That's one of the reasons I like you guys so much, is because I can be myself. I can be weird. You guys won't judge me. and it's a safe space to kind of just express myself, and that it makes all the difference. The energy I get off of that kind of environment is so much better than being around people who just aren't your people.
Damn.
That was
Well
good.
done. That was very genuine, Natalie. Mike, we will touch base next time.
Okay, thank God that you
Yeah,
asked me
you
the
have
same
some time
question.
to think of it. Yeah. Maybe when we end this show.
I don't have advice.
You never actually make fun of me. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
That's so not true. They're the lies.
No.
You are
like,
a liar.
No, like genuinely make fun
Oh
of you?
yeah, no, that would be fucked up.
Maybe fucked up.
I would never genuinely make fun of you guys, but I would make fun of you for sure. For sure.